Now we look at Malaya. If we look what is Malaya, you look at also at Interpretation and General Clause Ordinance 1948. This is the ordinance made by the Federation of Malaya, 1957. They make this ordinance. So any law before Federation of Malaya gain independent, it's called ordinance. After Federation of Malaya gain independent, it's called Act of Parliament. So what it mean of Malaya based on this ordinance? It means the states of federation and Singapore. That is Malaya. States of the federation and Singapore combined. And another constitutional definition is given in the Constitution of the State of Singapore, Article 91, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the State of Singapore. Malaya means Singapore and the Malay Peninsula. And the Malay Peninsula here means Federation of Malaya. I will go explain it later. So this is what it's mean by Malaya. So Malaya is states of the Federation and Singapore. So what is the state of the Federation just now? I already explained what is the state of Federation. State of the Federation is Federation of Malaya, and Malaya means state of the Federation and Singapore. So state of Federation is Federation of Malaya plus Singapore. So that is what we call Malaya. Why the term Malaya was coined in this Interpretation and General Clause Ordinance 1948 and in the Constitution of Singapore? Okay, before we answer that question, we look at this one. What is Malay Peninsula? If we look at the Article 91, Clause 1 of the Constitution of the State of Singapore, Malaya means Singapore and the Malay Peninsula. What is the meaning of Malay Peninsula? The meaning of Malay Peninsula, you look at the Malaysia Agreement 1963, at the sixth schedule of the Malaysia Agreement 1963. You look there at Article 8, Right to Equal Treatment. In Clause 5, for the word Federation, there shall be substitute the words Malay Peninsula. So we look at the Federal Constitution of Malaya, Federation of Malaya, in Article 8, Clause 5. The word Federation has been replaced with the Malay Peninsula. So Article 8 of the former Constitution of the Federation of Malaya 1957 has been amended, where in Article 8, Clause 5, for the words Federation, there shall be substitute the words Malay Peninsula. So the former word is Federation. So what does Federation mean? Federation, in the Federation of Malaya Agreement 1957 Constitution, it's mean the Federation established in accordance with the Federation of Malaya Agreement 1957. So the Federation here means Federation of Malaya. So it has been substituted with Malay Peninsula. So easily we can understand the framer intention here, that Malay Peninsula means Federation. Federation means Federation of Malaya 1957. So the words here, it's give the same meaning. The Malaya means in the Interpretation and General Clause Ordinance 1948 means State of the Federation and Singapore. It means Federation of Malaya plus Singapore. So that is Malaya. And Article 91 Clause 1 of the Constitution of the State of Singapore also give the same meaning. Malaya means Singapore and the Malay Peninsula. What is Malay Peninsula? Malay Peninsula is Federation of Malaya plus Singapore, and it is become Malaya. So Malaya is Singapore and Federation of Malaya. So why did the British make this definition in the Interpretation and General Clause Ordinance 1948, and then later they put it in the Constitution of Singapore also, the meaning of Malaya? It is because the British, they feel responsible for the separation of Singapore from the Federation of Malaya. When during they colonized the Federation of Malaya, being colonized, Singapore being colonized, they separate these territories. So they feel obligated to merge back all these people and territories, because they think they make a mistake when they separated Singapore from the rest of the Federation of Malaya. That's why they put there Malaya, so that they want the people to understand. And even the people in the Federation of Malaya and Singapore at that time, they have a wish that one day they will still merge together. That's why they coined the word Malaya there, so that in the future, in Federation of Malaya and Singapore will come back together.